the main character actually asking questions. I absolutely love that. Instead of making obsessions and running away from his problems without facing it like a certain someone. Now, it was hilarious and funny, but it sure did cause a lot of people headaches and problems and hurt his male lead a ton over it. His yandere of a male lead. But the main character asks an important question, which is, does he have to get the original love interest and the male lead together? And the system tells him no, that will not be a problem. He does not have to get them together. And the main character's like, okay, that's perfect. And he's like, that is awesome, because honestly, the original love interest doesn't deserve the male lead at all. And then I don't have to deal with the headache of getting them together, which I'm also pleased with it, where the main character doesn't think he has to get them two together, causing more issues and more problems, and hurting the male lead, just like a certain character hurting his male lead over that. Like, love this. I love how the main character isn't like, oh, I'm going by with a book I read, instead of asking important questions to my system. And his system does deflect a good portion of the time. We'll deflect him, but we'll answer him like a certain system would if a certain person didn't like running away from his problems. Another question the main character asks that's really important: if he keeps changing the plot, will the male lead not become emperor? And the system tells him that no, the male lead will continue to be emperor no matter how much the plot changes. Since he's wearing the protagonist's halo, he will continue to be the emperor. And the main character's like, good to know. Good to know. I'm like, yes. Asking more important questions instead of assuming, which leads to a lot of funniness and enjoyment, but also leads to too many headaches and yelling at my book. Look how cute they are, and the main character taking care of his husband, keeping his husband from not just being mute, but also blind, saving his husband's eyes, even risking his identity. Ooh, I love that. Which he does end up revealing who he is to the male lead. He doesn't know that the male lead knows, but the male lead at this point has finally figured out that the thief that keeps sneaking out and sneaking in is his pet fish. Like, he's like, why hadn't I noticed it before? But also he points out all the reasons why he hadn't noticed, and how sneaky his wife is about covering up the fact that he can turn human. Like, he's like, ooh, my wife? I have a wife now. I have a wife. My pet fish is my wife. And since the male lead now knows that the main character can turn into a human, which the main character, yes, can turn into a human without the medicine. He gets an hour and then later gets 2 hours a day to turn into a human. His fish form has gained new scales. He's losing his old ones and gaining golden scales and then turning into a KOI fish. I cannot pronounce that fish name. From his carp form and gaining to be bigger. To the point that male lead even had to make a whole different identity for the main character's fish shelf, stating the main character had that bloodline in him to cover up the fact that his wifey was changing. And again, the main character does not know the male lead knows that he is a fish. A human. A human fish. And the male lead thinks the main character is some sort of spirit that has chosen him. Like, yeah, it's wacky. The situation got wacky. Also, the male lead is full on naughty. Didn't know what kind of thing a system was, so he was about to write it down, but the drunken little fish caught the princess in his hands and giggled. The little fish teasing was making, the male lead's heart beat thunderously in his chest. If the drunken carp spirit wanted to suck his essence from him, he thought he would definitely cooperate. I'm like, man, sir. Like, that's kind of your life force, but also something else. Like, you've been reading too many naughty books, thanks to your cousin, because when he kept making questions at his cousin about, those kind of spirits, his cousin gave him a bunch of naughty books, and he'd been reading them. And I'm like, dude. And, like, the main character just ends up nibbling on him. But, like, dude, you were naughty. Super naughty. So the main character, he's kind of wary and worried of what the male lead would do to him when he finds out that the main character can turn into a human. And I'm like, honey, this man was roaming around with crystal bottles so he could carry you about wherever he went and wouldn't let you out of them until you became spiritless. And then he decided to make a bunch of fish bowls in every single room he went in so you could still be by his side. And he carries you around when he leaves his palace in a crystal bottle and makes sure that you have places you can go to. Like, honey, if he knew, which he now knows, but like later down the line, I feel like this man would definitely lock the main character up in his palace, lock him up in his room, if he thought any real danger came to the main character, which real danger did. Someone did try poisoning the main character. Like, this man might go cray-cray, a little cray-cray when it comes to his wife. Honey, I'd be not afraid of him killing you. I'd be afraid of him locking you up for the rest of your life with chains in his bedroom, never leaving the bed, and you needing a wheelchair to roam about because he took out your back. Like, honey, I'd be more worried about that. Also, the main character has to help the male lead against another plot caused by the second prince's mother. You know, the noble consort? Yeah, she made it look like a fire burned down her palace and then burned herself, but not with the same things that burned down her palace. And in the original storyline, the people who discovered it was the third prince and sixth prince, but they're keeping their mouth shut, so the main character has to reveal it to the male lead. It has to be all sneaky because he doesn't know the male lead knows he's human. Yeah. And he finds a way to transform the male lead. It's like, oh, you want to tell me something, but you can't tell me as a fish but a human, but you don't know I know you're a human, so he makes it a way where the main character can transform and tell him. And they inform the male lead's servant, and they go inform the third prince and sixth prince of what they know. Like, it was a bunch of wackiness just to be able to tell the male lead information, because again, the main character does not know. The male lead knows who he is. But I think at the end, at the last chapter, the last page, the main character finally finds out that the male lead knows who he is, but I'm not really sure. I think. I don't know.